People often look at the Quran in one of two extremes. They either see it as a purely spiritual text meant only for personal worship, or they view it as a ready-made, article-by-article political constitution. But if this text was designed to be the operating system for a state, you have to ask a logistical question. Why were 0 political laws and absolutely no electoral systems revealed on day one? The text arrived over 23 years, following a highly specific strategic sequence. This deliberate delay in establishing political law highlights the importance of the human element. The strategic order of these revelations suggests that a state requires a specific kind of person to function. Look at the early years in Mecca. For over a decade, there is a complete absence of government legislation. The focus is entirely on the internal state of the individual. The curriculum here is strictly behavioral. It builds a psychological foundation of ultimate accountability, the hereafter, and trains people in absolute honesty, patience, and trustworthiness. At the same time, it establishes a baseline for social justice. Long before there is a police force, the text demands the protection of orphans, feeding the poor, and strictly fair trade practices in the markets. A political system functions as a direct reflection of the people who inhabit it. Social morality and character are the mandatory prerequisites for wielding authority. Once the individual character is built, the text shifts to the late Makki phase. Here, it acts as a historical mirror, laying out specific case studies of failed states and ruined empires. The pharaoh is the ultimate archetype of authoritarianism, representing a system built on the arrogance of absolute power and the oppression of minorities. Then there is the Society of Madian. Their story serves as a warning about economic fraud. The text shows how manipulating weights and measures is a fatal rot that accelerates political collapse. The historical warning is clear. Any state built on tyranny and exploitation is illegitimate. No matter its monumental wealth, it will self-destruct. Finally, the timeline reaches Medina. The community now has a physical territory, a state is born, and the actual rules of governance and law arrive. The first pillar is sovereignty. Humans are khalifa, ethical managers operating under divine law. The second pillar is justice, applied equally, overriding personal wealth or class. The third is shura, mutual consultation. Unilateral dictatorship is forbidden. Major decisions require public input. The fourth pillar is economic welfare. The state has a legal duty to intervene and prevent wealth from circulating exclusively among the elite. It mandates strict safety nets for orphans, the poor, and the vulnerable. Put together, the anatomy of this state is highly specific. It is an ethical management system engineered to prioritize collective justice over individual power accumulation. So how do we apply this timeline to our own institutions today? When it comes time to actually choose a modern leader, the text lays out a strict 3-part formula for candidates. The first requirement is moral consciousness and ethical purity. If a candidate is immersed in corruption or deceit, handing them authority violates the very first lesson of the Meccan phase. The second requirement is quwwa, which translates to strength. In governance, this means administrative competence, physical capability, and the intellectual capacity to execute the job. The third requirement is amana, or absolute trustworthiness. A leader must have a proven track record of fiercely guarding public assets and delivering rights to their proper owners. Relying on a candidate's massive wealth or viral popularity is a dangerous illusion. Without competence, morality, and trust, they do not meet the baseline to govern. When evaluating how leaders are chosen, the text outlines a clear rule of universal participation. Both men and women hold the equal right and the civic duty to select their representatives. The rules of campaigning are extremely rigid. Every claim must be strictly truth-based. Buying votes with cash, using character assassination, and making false promises are morally and legally forbidden. To prevent intimidation, the actual mechanism of voting must be free and secret. Every citizen must be able to cast their choice based on their conscience, free from coercion. Once elected, leaders take an oath explicitly as public servants, not rulers. And if they break that trust, become corrupt, or turn tyrannical, the judiciary and the consultation councils have the explicit right to remove them. A government earns its building and maintaining the character of the citizens.